The next question is, tell me about your happiest day. I've had a lot of happy days. I've had tons of happy days.
Okay, pick the top few.
I mean, everybody wants you to say the typical answers, you know, the getting
day
married.
we got married, the day our kids were born. There's other stuff we've done.
For me, coming over to the U.S., I had the opportunity to live part of my life in the Bahamas, and that was a big deal, being able to get to come over here.
Day you became a U.S. citizen?
That's a big day.
That was a big day.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good things that have happened. Doesn't mean we haven't had bad things happen, but it means we've been lucky in a lot of other good things. Why have your careers focused on education? What appeals to you about it?
I've always been in the back end on different campuses where I support the campus mission, so I always felt good being part of the university mission and being able to do things to support people.
You know, for me, it was always about how do we enable creativity, enable innovation, being part of a community that values that. So those are the things. What most excites you about being on a university campus?
My parents didn't go to school, and it was different to get there, and it was a different life. And once I got there, I realized that's where I wanted to be. And I guess I always found excuses to stay on a campus and not leave. What is one job you would never do, even for $1 million? I bet I could guess what you're going to say.
Well, I did a job.
I know, and I'm gonna. That's what I was gonna bet you would never do it again.
Cleaning hog confinement buildings for pigs with a pressure washer, so when you're done, you're covered in everything. And I did that. But I probably would do it for $1 million.
For $1 million?
For sure. I have a lot of respect for people who do it. If you could do any job in the world outside of education, what would you do and why?
I might work supporting the theater or something.
I would love to be able to do carpentry. I'd love to, I just like building things.
So what did you want to be when you were growing up? And we've never talked about this.
I
don't know if we've ever talked about when we were young like this.
You know, when you see opportunity, you're able to dream. When you don't know if you can actually get through the immediate future, you don't dream. You don't think much about what you can be when you grow up because you're so worried about what's coming next. I think a lot about, you know, growing up and just not having much and not knowing how we were going to get the next meal or how we'd be able to pay rent or not having electricity and not being able to afford electricity. I actually don't remember much about, you know, what I would have wanted to be because I didn't know if any of it was realistic. But every day I think about how fortunate I am to actually go from that to where we are now. And we've had a very lucky life.
We've been very lucky.
Yeah.